After driving my sister to her chemo appointments for 6 months, I missed one day because my son was in the ER. That night, I came home to my bedroom cleared out and my name removed from the lease. "You're always late when it counts," she said, tossing my mother's ashes onto the porch. I slept in my car across the street. 2 weeks later, she called me screaming, but it was already too late. I didn't have to move. That's what kills me. I had a life back in Bakersfield. I had a routine. My son, Eli, had friends at school. I had a decent job driving for a regional courier service. We weren't rich, but we were good. Stable. Then Deborah called me crying. "I can't do this alone," she said. "I need someone here. I need you." She had just been diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. She sounded scared, broken. And she was my sister. Our mom died the year before from a stroke, and Deborah never really recovered from that. Her husband left her 2 years ago after a 10-year marriage. She was alone in El Mirage, Arizona. No kids. Just her and her little rental house. I didn't even hesitate. I talked to Eli, packed up our stuff, and left the life we had behind. I figured we'd stay a few months, help her get through the worst of it, and then head back. I didn't realize I was walking into a trap. At first, it was what you'd expect. She was weak. The chemo made her sick and moody. I drove her to every appointment. Every one. 3 times a week, sometimes more when she had complications. I sat in that waiting room so much I knew the nurses by name. I watched her cry in pain, scream in frustration, and stare at nothing for hours. I picked up her prescriptions, cleaned up after her when she couldn't make it to the bathroom, even fed her when she couldn't lift her arms. I never complained. I took a graveyard shift job at a shipping warehouse in Surprise, Arizona, 35 minutes from her place. I'd sleep in the mornings while Eli was at school, and then take Deborah to her appointments in the afternoons. I was running on fumes every day, but I kept going. She wasn't grateful. She didn't say thank you. Not once. But I didn't expect her to. I just kept thinking, she's sick. She's scared. She's lashing out. I told myself I could take it. I paid the utility bills most months. She said her disability didn't cover much. I believed her. I covered groceries too. Spent the last of my savings because I didn't want Eli to go hungry and I didn't want her to feel guilty. Then the one day I couldn't be there, everything changed. It was a Tuesday. I remember because Eli had just come home from school saying his stomach hurt. An hour later, he was on the floor, sweating, curled up in pain. I rushed him to the hospital. It was his appendix. It had ruptured. The doctors moved fast. They said we were lucky we got him there when we did. I stayed with him the whole night, watching machines beep and worrying myself sick. My phone had died during the chaos, and I didn't even think to charge it. Around 11:30 p.m., I finally got a charger from the nurse's station and plugged in. That's when I saw all the texts from Deborah. Angry texts. "Where the F*** are you? This is the most important appointment." I waited for hours. Alone. "Don't bother coming back." I was too tired to respond. I figured I'd talk to her in person. I got back to her place a little after midnight. Parked in the driveway. Saw something on the porch. Trash bags. My duffel bag. Eli's school books. A cracked photo of my mom and Deborah. And a box. I knew what was in the box the second I saw it. My mom's ashes. We kept them on the mantel. Deborah had thrown them outside like they were junk mail. She stood inside the screen door with her arms crossed, staring at me like I was a stranger. "You're always late when it counts," she said flatly. I didn't say anything at first. I was too stunned. "You kicked me out?" I finally asked. "You abandoned me today. My son almost died. And I almost die every day, remember? Where was your energy today? I wanted to yell. I wanted to scream in her face. But I didn't. I just picked up my things, grabbed my mother's ashes, and walked to my car. I didn't even look back. I slept in my car that night. Right across the street. It was cold. I had a hoodie, but no blanket. I wrapped Eli's old jacket around me and tried not to cry. He was still in the hospital. I couldn't even be there with him. The next day, I drove straight to the hospital. Eli was doing better. I stayed with him for the next few days, sleeping in the chair next to his bed. The hospital staff was kind. They offered me food, water, even a place to shower. When Eli was discharged, we had nowhere to go. I called an old friend from Bakersfield who wired me enough money to get a cheap motel. I called Deborah once. She didn't answer. I didn't try again. 2 weeks passed. We were barely scraping by. I was applying for jobs, calling shelters, anything. Eli was healing, but he was scared all the time. I kept telling him we'd be okay. Then, one night around 1 a.m., Deborah called. I didn't recognize the number because she was calling from someone else's phone. When I answered, all I heard was her screaming. They took everything. Everything. She was crying so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. I asked her what she was talking about, but she just kept saying the same thing. They took everything. The house. My stuff. The bank, it's all gone. Where are you? I just sat there, holding the phone, listening to her fall apart. But it was already too late. I didn't respond right away. Hearing Deborah sob like that? It hit something in me. But not the way you'd think. I didn't feel sympathy. I didn't feel guilt. I felt hollow. Like a switch had flipped. I stayed quiet on the line, just letting her yell. Her words were jumbled between gasps and sobs, but I caught pieces. My account's empty. They froze it. The landlord says the rent hasn't been paid in 2 months. My car, my F*****ing car is gone. She was unraveling. And I was just listening. After a minute, I said calmly, I told you not to touch my name on the lease. There was a pause on her end. Then a snarl. What the hell did you do? Me? I said. You threw me out. Remember? You're sick, she snapped. You think this is funny? My life is falling apart. And there it was. Her life was falling apart. She forgot all the nights I scrubbed vomit out of her sheets. All the days I went without sleep just to keep her appointments. The groceries I paid for. The power bills I covered. The rent I was still quietly sending to the landlord, until the day she took my name off the lease. Yeah. That's right. When she kicked me out, she forged my signature and had the lease updated through the rental company. I found out a few days later when I called them, trying to figure out if I could stay or get a room there separately. The manager said, sorry, your sister filed a removal request. You're no longer listed. So I stopped paying. I shut off the automatic transfers. Her next disability check bounced because she'd added me as a co-signer for her bank account last year when I helped her refinance some overdue bills. It had my name on it. I never thought it would matter, until she turned on me. She forgot all the small things. The utilities were in my name. The insurance on her car, also mine. I'd done it to help her. At the time, she didn't qualify. I guess she forgot that too. So I made a few calls. Cancelled the auto payments. Closed the bank account. Reported the car stolen, because, legally, it was mine. I still had the registration. She never transferred it. I wasn't trying to destroy her. I just stopped cleaning up her messes. She destroyed herself. You better fix this, she said, voice shaking now, trying to sound strong again. Or I'll make your life hell. I laughed. Deb, you already did. Then I hung up. After that call, things moved fast. The next week, I got a letter from a lawyer. She was trying to sue me for damages, claiming I'd stolen from her, that I'd manipulated her during her illness. I sent the lawyer a stack of receipts, screenshots, bank statements, and proof of payment. The hospital paperwork for Eli. The lease removal form, with the forged signature. I didn't even need to fight it. The lawyer dropped her within a month. Word got around, too. Her church friends, people who used to drop off casseroles or drive her when I was working, stopped visiting. They found out what she did. She posted a nasty rant on Facebook blaming me, but it backfired. People started digging. Asking questions. One of her neighbors, Mrs. Green, who always baked Eli cookies, texted me, "I'm sorry. I didn't know. She told us you abandoned her. I feel so foolish." I didn't reply. But things weren't perfect for me either. Eli was healing, but we were still living in a motel. Money was tight. I picked up a job delivering furniture in Phoenix, long hours and low pay, but it kept us afloat. Then one night, Eli came to me and said, "Dad, Aunt Deborah came to school today." My blood ran cold. "She tried to talk to me," he said. "Said you were lying." That was it. She'd crossed the line. I saw red. She went to his school. After everything, she went behind my back to poison my son's head. The school hadn't even called me yet. Maybe they didn't think it was a big deal, or maybe they didn't know our history. But I knew Deborah. And this wasn't random. This was war. I drove straight to the school the next morning. The front office lady, Mrs. Lee, looked confused when I asked if Deborah had been there. "Your sister," she said. "Yeah, she stopped by yesterday. Said she was checking on Eli's recovery." "Did she go into the classroom?" She looked uncomfortable. "Not technically. She saw him during recess." They talked at the fence. "We didn't think it was inappropriate," she said. She was a family member. I kept my cool, barely. "She's not allowed near him," I said. "That woman kicked us out, dumped us on the street, and now she's stalking my kid." Mrs. Lee looked stunned. She took notes, apologized, said she'd speak to the principal. I didn't wait. I pulled Eli out for the day and we went home. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my dad. We hadn't spoken since my mom died. Long story short, he and Deborah had always been close. She was the golden child. I was the screw-up. But after Mom's funeral, I stopped talking to both of them. It wasn't worth the pain. But now? I needed leverage. Dad picked up on the third ring. "Jason," he sounded surprised. "What the hell?" "I need your help," I said. "Deborah's crossed a line." The silence that followed said it all. "I know she's been calling you," I added. "I know she's feeding you her version. But she tried to manipulate my kid. You want to hear my side or not?" He didn't say anything. So I told him everything. The move. The hospital. The eviction. The ashes. The forged signature. The car. The lawsuit. All of it. I didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. When I finished, he let out a long breath. "Jesus Christ. I didn't come to fight," I said. "I just want her to back off. I'll talk to her." "You said that before." "No, I mean it this time." He hung up. The next week was quiet. Eli went back to school. I kept working. We moved out of the motel and into a small 2-bedroom trailer in Goodyear. It wasn't much, but it was ours. Then, a few days later, Dad called again. "She's checked herself into a clinic," he said. "What kind of clinic?" "A rehab." I almost laughed. For what? She doesn't drink. She's on pills, he said quietly. Painkillers. Started during chemo. Said it helped her sleep. I felt sick. Not surprised, just sick. He kept talking. She said losing you. Losing control of everything, it sent her over the edge. I didn't say anything. I didn't trust myself to speak. Then he said something that stuck. She asked for your forgiveness. I hung up. Because forgiveness wasn't even on the table. I didn't answer any more of my dad's calls after that. Deborah going to rehab didn't change what she did. People always want you to forgive as soon as someone says they're sorry. But sorry doesn't fix 6 months of being treated like dirt. It doesn't undo tossing me and my son into the street or flinging our mother's ashes like trash. I focused on rebuilding. Eli needed peace. I needed space. We kept our heads down. I got a second job fixing up trailers on the weekends. We were scraping by, but things started feeling normal again. For the first time in a long time, Eli smiled without forcing it. A few months later, a letter came to our new place. Handwritten. No return address, but I knew the handwriting. It was from Deborah. Inside was a short letter, shaky and dramatic like she always was. She wrote that she'd found God again, that she was healing, and she understood now what she had done. She said she was sorry for throwing us out, for using me, for manipulating Eli. She said she hoped we could one day be family again. I didn't show the letter to Eli. I didn't respond either. But I didn't throw it away. Not yet. Then, one hot day in August, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. When I played it back, it was Deborah's voice again, but not like before. She was frantic. You need to call me, Jason. Please. It's Dad. He collapsed. They think it's his heart. Please, I don't know who else to call. Please, I froze. Part of me thought, this is karma. Another part of me remembered being 10 years old, sitting on my dad's shoulders at the fair, while Deborah held my hand. Family doesn't mean what it used to, though. Still, I called the hospital. Not for her, for him. He'd been moved to ICU. They didn't know yet if he'd make it through the night. I didn't go visit. The next day, I got another voicemail. This time, Deborah wasn't crying. She was angry. You didn't even show up? He's your father. You're so goddamn bitter you can't even. I deleted the message halfway through. Then I got an idea. I pulled out the letter she'd sent. The one where she admitted everything in her own handwriting. I made a copy. Scanned it. Saved it in 3 places. Then I sent it to her landlord from before, the one she'd screwed over by skipping rent. I also forwarded it to the attorney who dropped her civil case against me, just to close that loop. Finally, I posted it, anonymously, on the Facebook group for her old church. The one she used to lie to about how I abandoned her. I included a simple note, sometimes it's not the family member who leaves who's wrong. Sometimes they were pushed away. Within a day, the post had comments. People from town, old neighbors, even her old job. One lady said, I always knew something didn't add up. Another said, she borrowed money from me back then. Never paid me back. Her name was Dirt again. But this time, she did it to herself. Weeks passed. Then, one day, I got one final letter. No return address again. Inside was just a picture. It was of Deborah, bald again. Maybe the cancer came back. Maybe the stress brought it out. I don't know. But on the back, in tiny handwriting, it said, I lost everything. And I think I finally see what you were trying to protect. I hope one day Eli understands. I folded it up and put it away. I'll never forgive what she did. But I don't need revenge anymore. She's living it. Every day. And me? I've got my son, a roof over our heads, and peace. That's the best revenge I could ever ask for.